very welcome back to the show. Now, it is a crippling and mysterious illness that makes everyday life a minefield. We're talking about OCD, or obsessive compulsive disorder, which affects 3% of Irish people.
22-year-old Brian Clarke's battle with OCD drove him to the brink, describing his worst days with the disease as pure and utter hell. Brian, you're very welcome to the show. When did you realise that there was something up, that you had a problem?
Well, it's going back, I suppose, to when I was as young as 10, 11, 12 years of age. I kind of knew that I was a little bit different in terms of I was a lot more clean, tidy. I liked things in order. I liked things to be perfect. I was a bit of a perfectionist. But it slowly got worse over the years. And I suppose when I was 15, 16, 17, it started to become more in the form of intrusive thoughts. And that's the main thing that anyone with OCD can resonate with, is intrusive thoughts that come into your head. And that's when it sort of took over then and got...
But if you go back to even when you were 10 and 11, you'd wash your hands so much that you'd draw blood.
Yeah. That's how bad it was. You could never be clean enough. You could never be tidy enough. And the more you tidied, the more you cleaned, the worse it got, the more anxious you would have felt.
And it's strange because, you're a family, there's boys in your family, and, you all grew up together, and boys particularly would, running around, kicking a football, a little bit grubby. Did your brothers notice that you were like this, or your parents?
No, not really. It's a very hidden illness. You wouldn't, from the outset, you wouldn't notice with anybody unless they told you I have OCD. So
you just think you're particular?
Yeah, you just think that's just the way he is. It wouldn't be serious, like it wouldn't look...
I think it comes under the perfectionist thing, doesn't it? That he's a perfectionist even at 9 and 10.
Yeah, that's what people would think. But there's nothing wrong with being a perfectionist. Plenty of people are. It's absolutely normal. But if it's an obsession and if it takes over your life, then it's a serious problem.
What kind of things, apart from the cleaning, what type of things would you do as a little kid? Would it be stuff like tidying your bedroom over and over, or what?
More mentally, with me was praying. It was one of the big things with me, was where I used to, pray that if I had the thoughts of harm coming to my family or something like that, or an accident happening, I'd obsessively pray for a lot of hours upon hours to try and get rid of that thought, to try and relieve the thought.
What type of thoughts, and at what stage, of your life do they start?
They were mainly around, harm coming to family members, even myself.
That something would happen, is it?
Like a car accident, or the house would burn down, things like that. I would obsessively, for example, check the cooker was turned off for like hours, looking at it from, just looking at the knob to make sure they're all switched off, to make sure the light on the wall is switched off.
And did you see praying then as kind of cleaning your mind?
Yeah, forgiveness or whatever that might have been. I'm not even religious, so it wouldn't have been. I don't know why, but I just felt that was one of the things I had to do to try and relieve the thoughts.
It must have been very difficult for you growing up, in the sense of the stress that brings that, because you can't relax at all.
No.
You can't rest your mind as a little kid going to bed.
No, it was constant barrage every single day for years and years and years until I finally got help.
And when did you first say all this to your family?
Well, it wasn't really up until about 2 years ago till I kind of got so severe, but that's quite normal with people.
So you were living with this for 10 years on your own, all through your teenage years. You've enough to be going through as a teenager, not to mind you have this as well. Yeah,
but it is quite common. Nearly 80% of people with OCD don't actually seek help for about 10, 15 years from the onset of when it first starts to the day they receive help.
Did you ever think during, the darkest and deepest thoughts that you couldn't go on? Did you ever feel, I just don't want to live anymore?
Yeah. That's definitely come. On occasions, I would have thought suicide was probably the only option, and at times I definitely thought it was the only option until I finally sought help.
Okay.
And what was that first step? Because people may be watching the show today, Brian, and they might find themselves in the same situation, been living with this for 10 years, and they don't know what to do, they don't know how to break the cycle. What was your first step out of this?
Well, it had gotten so severe about 2 years ago that it was either that or commit suicide. And for some reason or another, I didn't go that far. I went and sought help. I went to a neighbour and I said, listen, I'm having these thoughts, there's something seriously wrong here. And the first step then was to go to my GP, my local doctor, who said I'm in need of urgent psychiatric care. And that was okay. He made an appointment or whatever with a local mental health team, but it got worse over the next couple of days. I still couldn't live with myself. I couldn't live with this. So I was brought to A&E, where I was first diagnosed by a psychiatrist there in the hospital with a severe anxiety disorder. But over the next couple of weeks, progressively it got a bit better, and then I was finally diagnosed with OCD, and then from there on it's been just recovery.
What type of therapy did you have then?
I have had CBT, which is cognitive behavioural therapy. It's the main treatment for anybody with OCD.
So that would bring you back, that type of therapy has to bring you back to the cause, the root and all this.
Yeah.
So you're getting back to your childhood and all that.
Yeah, it's exposure and response therapy. So in other words, you will be put in a situation which will cause you severe anxiety, and what will happen is how you respond to that. Before, I obviously responded with you know, huge worries and anxiety.
And panic attacks and all that must have been part of it in the sense, heart racing. Did you have all that type of feeling?
Yeah, definitely. I was, you know, constantly worrying, non-stop. This didn't stop. It went on and on. Every single day there was something different.
What was the journey back into your childhood like as part of this therapy?
It's very difficult. It's not something that I like to do.
But you had to do it though.
Yeah, I definitely had to do it. But certainly going back, looking back, it brings nothing but bad memories. So what I'm doing now is I'm looking forward,
of course,
all the time.
And now you're okay. I mean, are you still obsessive about certain things?
A little bit, but what I can do now is I can manage it. Yeah. You'll never be cured of OCD, and it's not something that will make it go away. You'll always have it. I will always have it. Unfortunately, if I suffer a traumatic event later in life, it could bring it back to as bad as it was.
But you'll know how to deal with it then.
Yeah, well, I have all
you won't feel alone because you know where to go for help.
Yeah, I have all the support techniques in place. I've also, on my own information, I have various different books on the topic and on the disorder. So I always have at hand, you know, just a quick look to see, okay, that's what I have, and you know, how to deal with it.
Living with it is one thing, I suppose, and control. You're in control now, that's the difference.
Yeah, I'd like to think I am, yeah. Good. Definitely, yeah.
Brilliant. Well, it's great, and thank you for coming in and telling us, because as though he was saying, there are, I'm sure, people watching today that have a lot of these thoughts, and it's great to see someone like you speaking out.
And you'd advise them to get help straight away.
Definitely,
break that cycle.
Absolutely, as quick as possible.
Thank you.